Hello, and it's time for the JV West Season 3 opener at Mosport. Let's get straight into it with the qualifying. And I'll run you through the token spends as our drivers start off for the qualifying. Our two 4 token spenders today are Kader and Razim, who will be looking to get good performances. In this race, 3 token spenders, we've got G4 of Goal, as well as Cloud from Audio Costa Motorsport, Shiloh also for Russell British, and Mr. Crunk. And looking to make an explosive start from Matsar Motorsport. Our 2 token spenders are Hyper from Goal, Maskov, Bravus from Flying Fox, Kraft from Matsar Motorsport, and Emma Box debuting for Berger Ikolowski Racing. Then our 1 token spenders are Smalls and Charge JT, both from the Monkey Racing, Tifole for Avionics, and token 34 for Berger Ikolowski Racing. Juan Edwardito's Gamer 15, Balti, and Ellie not spending any tokens for this race. That's only 5 drivers out of the 20 driver grid. Let's see, how are they doing right now? Mr. Crunk is on pole with a time of 25.98. He's easily beating Kader there. In terms of time, in terms of the fastest lap time, of course. Here's Mr. Crunk. Look at him go. In that Mazda car, oh, a little bit of grip is missing there, but he did manage to get that quick time, which is a bit of a surprise because if we look at the car stats, Mazda aren't anything too special. They've succeeded a grip upgrade here. RBR succeeded in Excel, so did Burberry Kolosky for their 7th Excel before the start of the season with 0 speed. Flying Fox succeeded 2 acceleration upgrades to bring them up to 5, making them the strongest car on the grid, and the Monkey Racing succeeded the grip. You can see the car index score there as well. Flying Fox, RBR, and the Monkey. You could say ahead of the rest, and INR behind the rest. So looks like we're going to be onto our final lap here, and nobody's beating Mr. Crunk's time as, well, the softs got worn out. I think I'll be looking a bit at what changes to make to the system, but it's the final lap. Might get rid of the tire wear because it doesn't look like the drivers have decided to pit. But it is Mr. Crunk who will start on pole position. So brilliant from Mr. Crunk for Mazda Motorsport. He's debuting in JV with a debutant team as well. So they do have experienced JV driver Kraft on their side. Alright, here we go. Mr. Crunk starts on pole. Razim starts on the front row. Kader will be starting from 3rd. Maska from 4th. G4 from 5th. Proline from 6th. The top 6 completely composed of different teams. Incredible. Then Ellie starting from 7th. Great qualifying performances for the electric racing drivers. Shiloh starts from 8th. Charged GT from 9th. And Hyper Mustang rounds out the front 5 rows. Cloud will start from 11th, Smalls from 12th, Balti 13th, Juan from 14th, Emma Box from 15th, Tifole from 16th. Then we have Kraft, Boken 34, Gamer 15, and finally Edward Tito's surprising difference between Kraft and Mr. Crunk with only 1 token spend of difference. But we'll see how that shakes out in the race itself. So let's get right into the race. So here we go for the opening race of JV West. Mr. Krunk starts from pole position, blocks off Razim heading into turn 1, but lets him get down on the inside. Kader battling Maska Bravas there. Razim still keeping on the inside, and Mr. Krunk is falling behind now. He's battling Maska Bravas for second place. Kader also getting in there. Razim is running away at the moment. Mr. Krunk falling like a stone. Sorry, let's just. Sorry for that. Here we go. G4 in the lead right now. G4's went on a soft compound and he's managed to find his way into the lead. Sorry for the scuffed coverage there. Um, yeah, that will be better from now. Razim is in second, Masker Brave is close behind, and then we have the two RBRs. Shiloh making his way in front of Kader, fighting furiously with each other, even though their teammates, they're not leaving anything between each other. Mr. Krunk leads this second pack. The top 5 have pulled away, and he's looking to keep Hyper, who's on way faster tires, keep him behind him. No, he lets him through. Doesn't have the pace on these hards, but they might. Oh, no mistake there. From Mr. Krunk and Hyper's ahead. Shiloh goes out wide, and now Kader is up into 4th. Maska Bravas, Razim trying to keep a decent enough gap to G4, even catching him actually. Maybe the softs are starting to show some signs of wear, considering the grip of these cars is not optimal most of the time. We've got a bit of fighting here. Kader and Shiloh side by side, and they're having to battle Maska Bravas at the same time. Shiloh forcing Kader off his line there. What is happening at Russell British Racing? They've decided to both spend high amounts of tokens on the same races, and it looks like this is the consequence of that plan. They're losing more and more time to Maska Bravas, who is in front. Razim has made his way past G4, and he is now in the lead of the race, but G4 does hold the fastest lap. So that can be an extra point for him if he can keep it going. Razim just in front on the mediums, G4 in second. Let's take a look at the rest of the grid. Masker Brave is still holding down third as Shiloh and Kader a bit busy fighting each other for 4th. As you can see there, Hyper Mustang has gotten past Mr. Krunk into 6th place. Mr. Krunk staying ahead of the Proline 4th, however, who's on the avionics car, so he does have a slightly worse car than Matzer, so it does look to make sense. Proline getting T-boned there almost by Charge GT. What an aggressive start to the season we've had from the drivers. Charge GT goes down on the inside, but can't keep himself on the track and goes out wide, and Proline gets the position right back as it looks like Mr. Krunk has caught up to Hyper and overtaken him. Looks like the softs have lost their grip, and he slams into the pit wall and he pets. So does G4. Both the Go Motorsports driver opted for the soft start, and we'll see if it works out for them here. As he pets out, Kraft is currently in 10th for a double points finish for Matzer and her first ever race at the moment. Emma Box is 11th, a fair bit behind Kraft, but Kraft looks to be struggling. They are also struggling on those medium tires. They look to be dying off now as Cloud and Smalls overtake Emma Box on either side of Emma. Shiloh is up into second, as you can see on the time board, but let's continue down the grid. Botti in 14th. Gamer just got past Tifole for 15th. Also, Juan and Ellie also tries, but Tifole is blocking hard there, yet Tifole looks to be dropping down to 18th. Then Advertito's getting lapped already after 10 laps in 19th position. Boken 34 in 20th, just overtook Edward Tito's for that last spot. Regime uh, is still not pitting. 11 lap mediums, and he is still not pitting for a new set. That's an interesting strategy for him. He is in the lead, but will this risk uh, a potential sort of undercut from the other drivers? Shiloh is catching up quick to him now after that decision. Kader side by side with G4 for third here. Masca Bravas looks to have dropped down far. He's also not pitted off of the mediums, and that looks to have been his mistake. As we're seeing, they're not pitting. They're not pitting off of the mediums. What could be prompting them to make this decision? And might we see hard users not pit for even longer than them? Mr. Crunk currently in 6th, right about to make his way past Masca, who's on those dead mediums, but Masca does force him out wide into the gravel there. Doesn't stop Mr. Crunk from getting past him. Kader pets off of hards at the exact same time as Racine pets off mediums. What was the point of that Racine strategy there? Looks like he's just been geniusly undercut by Kader, but right now this means that G4 is in the lead, but he does have older hearts, so we'll see how much of that lead will work out for him. We're nearing the halfway mark of the race. He's currently leading. We've got Shiloh comfortably in second at the moment, but he might want to pet off of these hards quite soon. We have Kader in third, ahead of Razim, who's on faster tires. They've pitted at the same time, and they're catching up really quickly to Shiloh now. Hyper is up into fifth, past Masca Bravas, who really lost out with that strategy of extending the medium stint. Looks like, right now at least, Mr. Crunk comfortably in 7th, and Kraft in 9th is still making this a double points finish for Matzer, who would be really happy with that. Prolime splits them in 8th, and Charged GT is in 10th. See, Shiloh has petted now, and he's ahead of Hyper for 4th, but just barely ahead. Hyper looking for a move down the inside. Shiloh covers him off. There's also a lapped car in front of them, but he goes out wide. And so Shiloh and Hyper are through without much problem. G4 still holds that fastest lap. Razim now has dropped a fair bit back from Kader. Kader looks to be chasing down G4 now for the race lead. It's incredible because we have a lot of high token spenders here, a lot of drivers spending 3 or 4 tokens, and if anything happens, we might even see um, a surprise winner here. You'd think it'd be Kader or Razim, but G4 is not looking that bad, but he has just been overtaken by Kader for the race lead. Shiloh dropped a fair bit back because of extending those hards. I assume he's looks to be just in that gap of 6 seconds behind the podium. We'll see if he can lower it. He just has lowered it big time to 4.5. Hyper behind the Masca Bravas on now, getting more and more worn out soft. Charge GT has overtaken Kraft for 9th place, but Kraft is still comfortably ahead of Cloud, who is in 11th. Cloud looking to get the first points for Audio Costa Motorsport under the rebrand. We'll see if he can manage that indeed. Razim trying to lap him, fails a bit there. Razim trying to catch up to G4 now, but these softs are now getting worn, they're getting hard to steer, and it's apparent Razim can't, Razim's struggling to catch up to G4, but maybe he can still pull it off with the speed on the straights. It's not a very complex track, most sport. It's a pretty quick lap time. You can get 26 seconds, 27 on average, Obviously, you can get the occasional sub 26. That 25.38 set by G4 is a really good example and a really good lap, and it looks like G4 has pitted for the second time, and now Masker Bravus has just pitted for the second time, and so has Proline. Now Kraft is pitting, so that means Cloud is up into 10th provisionally. I believe the rain is on, but I've not seen any weather announcements, so I may be wrong on that front, which would be a real shame, but I guess if that is the case, then Mosport is looking to have very sunny and nice weather today. As soon as I say that, the weather marker moves. So luckily, it looks like I've been proven wrong, and there is in fact weather in this on this race. Kader in the lead now. He's got worn out mediums. Will we see another stroke from genius of him? That was that undercut on the hards. G4 is catching up to him quick, and he wouldn't want that. He wouldn't want fighting back up the order again to get G4. He is betting now. G4 will be in the lead. But this might be Kader's probably last stint. No, he's gone for the softs. He can't take softs 11 laps. Will he? We'll see here. Interesting decision from the Russell British Racing driver. We get Shiloh now coming through into second, but he won't stay in second for very long if Kader can get the pace on those softs. Ellie looking to slow down the Colombian driver, but here he is right behind. And Ellie also qualified 7th, I believe. So now in 17th and pitting again. Looks to not have had the greatest of races by his teammate comfortably in the top 4, looking for a podium for Electric Racing. Their second or third after Kraft's victory in the tokenless finale at Glasgow last season. What a wonderful race that was. We're seeing him looking to make a move on Shiloh here. Does he have better tires than him? Yes, he has way better hards than Shiloh. Razim might not have to pit, but Shiloh should probably pit now. Would have been an optimum lap to pit, but I guess not. I guess he's extending the hards for another stint here. Let's see if there's any even contenders for G4's fastest lap, and it looks like Keller has set a very close fastest lap at 25.43, but not enough to beat him as Shiloh gets into the pits now. Back to the time board we go. G4 is still leading this race, Kader behind. Can he make these softs last 11 laps and win the race at the same time? Will G4 be pitting before the end of the race? What is happening with the strategy or Kader? G4 slowed down by Mr. Kronk, who's lapped. He's an 8th. He's still in the points, but he has been lapped by the race leaders. He'll still be happy with that pole position, I'm sure, and points in the debut race is nothing to scoff at, especially when your car isn't one of the best, that's overperforming, and everyone loves overperforming underdogs. G4 right now in second. Kader is running away. He wants to make the most of these soft tires before they degrade completely. Let's not count out Razim either. I think he's the only one of the top 3 at the moment to have calculated that his stint will actually last until the end of the race. So has Shiloh, but he looks to have quite a bit of a gap to the top 3. I don't know if he'll be able to catch up. Hyper Mustang ahead of Masca in the fight for 5th. Then 7th is Prolime, currently Mr. Crunk comfortably in 8th, and his teammate Kraft in 9th. So a wonderful race for Matsar and Charged JT comfortably in 10th. So Kader still leads the race. Those softs are dead. Prolime pitting 4 laps before the end of the race. From 7th, He's petting from 7th. This might be. Um, no, he's had a huge gap on Kraft, so he only loses the position to Kraft. And looks like something that he might just be able to get. Razim close to G4 now. Looks like Kader might be able to get away with this extension of the softs. Credible, Razim is just under a second behind G4 here. Shiloh not far behind. Oh, Prolime also trying to get that P7 spot back. Razim right up the back of G4. Overtakes him on the outside. Now it's the inside into the hairpin. Can he get past him? He does get past him, but what about the straight here? G4 just overtakes him right back, going on the outside. Now Razim has lost all that gap, and there goes Shiloh. He's right behind Razim now. We're on the final lap of the race. Shiloh on the outside, on the inside, tries to get past Razim, forced out wide a bit, but all three drivers are extremely close to each other. Razim down the inside, gets past G4 again, but it's the straight right after this. Kader is ahead, just driving. Shiloh gets past. G4 gets past. Razim past Shiloh. Shiloh past Razim. It's a 1-2. It's a 1-2 for RBR in the dying embers of the race. What a finish. G4 just outside the podium. At the end there, his tires could not last. Hyper finishes 5th. Masca Bravus looks to be finishing 6th here without much issue. Prolime has indeed gotten past Mr. Crunk. For those of you, like, what a race finish. And they all caught up within 2 seconds of Kader as well. But yeah, Kader is your race winner for the Mosport opener. And 2nd place is Shiloh. 3rd place went to Razim. 4th place to G4 Kraft. Will be finishing 9th for a double points finish for Matsar, which they will most certainly not scoff at. Not the most points, but it's very nice to see that their car can perform to some extent. Chart GT gets that 1 point for the Monkey Racing. A bit disappointing if you ask me. Cloud finishes in 11th, just outside the points. Then Smalls 12th. Emma Box in his debut can only manage 13th. Juan tokenless race 14th. He'll take that, I assume. Gamer will finish 15th here. Not a great race for INR, but they didn't spend any tokens on it, so you can't say that they're really disappointed by the result. Ellie will be in 16th. G4 ends up taking that fastest lap. Tifoli in 17th. Botti finishes 18th. Boken 34 in 19th, and Edward Tito's in 20th. So it looks like Audi Acosta Motorsport, Burger Klosker Racing, and INR are the 3 teams to have not scored any points on this race. Meanwhile, we have RBR, Gull, and Matsar all securing double points finishes. What is that? See that? It's just me. It's that because of low resolution, those liveries look completely different. Okay, I'll have to check after the race, because these are like thin pink stripes. So it might just be that because I have a smaller window here that looks like that. Very weird. But yeah, Razim also with a great performance, but I have to give it to Kader and Shiloh for this race. Kader did manage to make those softs last 11 laps, and Shiloh on the final turn gets that 2nd position. This is his debut race, so the RBR boys can be happy with that, but it is an interesting token spend. Where will lead them? Will they be able to tie up the championship if they spend tokens like that this recklessly? Find out next time. Where we'll go to Sonoma Raceway, the site where the recent most Golden Goose was hosted. Um, so yeah, we'll see you at Sonoma in America for the next GV West race. And thank you for watching. and I'll see you next week.